Well, you know what's
Everyone's like, you listen to music? I'm like, no, I'm not that cool.
I think all the gear is pretty,
I see a shark out there at the point.
Oh yeah.
The alligator's coming.
See the black shark out there?
Hello? There's nothing here. I think they'll be big out on the outside, but nothing surfable in here yet. Yeah, we're downwind and we got a crew of like 5 of us on wings and then I'm on the sub.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Right on. Yep, I'll see ya. Yeah, Hamburg look better than here for sure. Yep. Peace. Ugh. That smells lovely. I don't know. There's a sewage treatment plant down here too. Tiring.
Yeah.
I had like 15 minutes of free time a day all week. Drank like way more than I should have. And yeah, boys.
Come on, win.
up and over. Oh, you gotta love when you're on the perfect equipment. This foil is feeling amazing right now. Lift 130, 20 carb, and the extender, the 32-inch mast. Yeah, baby. We were just fucking vibing. Just did a 3:45 mile, which is, I don't know, not super fast, but I'm moving pretty good. It's probably about 16 mile an hour average speed. All right, this looks like a good one that we can hang out on for a minute. There's a lot of sticks in the water right now. Up and over that. Yeah. Woo! Got a bad, bad feeling. Ew! Woo! We are on a big one right now. Woo! Don't hit sticks, baby. Fuck. Why is there so many sticks in the water? Wingtip. Well, Sam Shannon from Appletree hit me up, I think in like November last year, maybe October, I don't remember. And you know, told me about some of the new boards coming down their pipeline. And one of those boards was the Skipper Downwind V2. And he asked if I wanted one of the first 8 made. And I luckily had someone interested in buying my other V1 Downwind board. So I said, sure. And took a little bit, you know, for them to get it out. So I think I got it in January, I believe. You know, broke some ice, took it out, paddled it up, felt good. But it wasn't until like May when, you know, the ice was open, we had good wind, and I started really hammering the downwind stuff. And it's been an excellent board. I'm super stoked with it. I have a longer Armstrong. So this is the one I'm on right now is 7.7 by 1800 liters, which is a little small on the volume side for me. I like it because it, you know, feels good when you're up and flying it. But I haven't had any issues, you know, getting it off the water. And last year I was using my Armstrong Downwind Performance board. I have the 811 by 17 1/4 108 liter board. And I would use that on the small days when it was basically like a flat water paddle up to get up. and the really big nuking days where the waves move so fast that sometimes it's hard to paddle up as well. And to be fair, I think, you know, the extra length in that board does help it get off the water easier. But this Appletree is so much more fun to turn and kind of surf downwind. So I haven't touched the Armstrong yet this season. I've been super stoked with this board. They used to only go up to, Appletree used to only go up to 7.7, which is the length of this one. But since I got this, they now have the ability to go all the way up to 8.0 on lengths. So if you're looking for a board that, you know, waterproof foam, I hit this with a paddle and cracked it, used it a couple times before I fixed it with no issues. You know, super solid construction. I would highly recommend checking out the V2 Appletree. The other thing is, compared to the V1, this is a lot lighter. My V1 was slightly heavier than the Armstrong board despite being lower volume. It still was more fun to surf because of the more compact shape. But the V2 is comparable to the Armstrong in terms of weight per volume. It's actually slightly lighter than the Armstrong weight per volume on my scale at home, which albeit is not like maybe the most accurate, but it's good enough. Yeah, super stoked with this board. I did tell Sam that I would do a review video, which I just haven't had it in my heart to take a camera out with me on one of these, because it is more fun when you're just kind of cruising and not thinking about filming. But I got some new ND filters in the mail today, and I, you know, wanted to see what a little motion blur would look like. Hopefully it's not a blurry mess because of the shakiness of my hand. But anyways, this board's sick. Works great. Come on. All right, chase this one down and cruise mode. Yee-hoo. So I guess I should, you know, talk about the differences between the V1 and the V2 Appletree downwind boards. From what you know, Sam told me, they were able to source slightly thicker foam blanks, which allows them to keep the width narrow and, you know, add a little extra thickness to the board. And that's pretty nice because the V1 was extremely flat. You know, it had a little rocker in the nose and the tail on the bottom surface of the board, but the deck was essentially completely flat. Whereas this V2 board, oh, the other thing is with the V1, you know, it needed to carry volume towards the nose and the tail more in order to achieve essentially the volume that you wanted at the width that you know, was acceptable. But with the V2, because they have more thickness to play with, they can essentially put more volume in the center of the board, thin out the tip and the tail, and add a bit more rocker. And I've found that, you know, similar to like that Armstrong board I have, that cutaway in the back really allows you to sink the tail of the board when you're really trying to like finesse the foil off the water. And it makes the paddle up quite a bit easier in my opinion. You know, I was a little worried. You know, I paddled this board up fine the first time, like literally the first time I got on it. I paddled it up with the Lift 180, which is 1160 square centimeters, like AR9-ish. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Well, sorry about that. One of the wingers in the Downwind crew today is a little under-rigged, which, you know, quick side note, massive upside of the sup and the paddle is you need the waves, not the wind. So when the wind comes down like it has recently, you're still good to go because the waves hang out for a little bit. Anyways, I was talking about the V2 Downwind board. Basically lets you finesse the board off the surface of the water easier. So, you know, I took it out in like January, broke some ice on the river, paddled up my first time with a lift 180. Then, you know, I was using the Ono Ava 105 square inch blade, like paddle. And then I got this Black Project Foil X, which is 84 square inches, so size small blade. And tried to go out again a couple weeks later when I got this thing and couldn't paddle it up. I think that was for two reasons. The new paddle, you know, took some adjusting to. I have no problem paddling this thing up on flat water now. But also paddling up in a 5'4" wetsuit, you know, after 3 months of not doing it is not ideal. So I think that was part of the issue. But I do feel like foils don't have as much lift in super cold water. You know, when I was paddling that day, it was probably like 33 Fahrenheit water temperature. And I think because the viscosity of water increases significantly when it's cold, foils don't generate the same amount of lift as you know, warmer water temperatures. Like right now, I think the water's 67-ish. You know, pumping around on these feels like a non-issue. Also, probably as I do a lot less cardio that time of year. So, you know, it's pretty easy to dig yourself into a cardio hole when you're trying to paddle up. But needless to say, you know, I got some time on this board, got some time on this paddle, and it really feels fantastic. Yee! Wind's definitely coming down a little. Starting to run closer to, like, you know, 405 minute miles. I hope the rest of those guys on wings are doing all right. But I haven't come down yet. And really I haven't felt gassed. I do like that about downwinding. You know, some days you're milking it for everything it's worth and it's just like brutal cardio, but you don't want to fall because you know that the paddle up is like a huge cardio hole that you then have to recover from. So it really forces you to push yourself. Then there's other days when you're just cruising. You know, not a lot of pumping, you know, big turns for an hour. It's awesome. This is kind of a mix of both. I'm doing a little pumping, but, you know, a lot of gliding too. Little Pink Floyd just came on the headphones. Like the perfect song for cruising out here. Oh man. This feels like it shouldn't be possible. That's my favorite part about it. Breathe, breathe in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Leave me. I'm sweating my butt off. It's gonna feel good to get in the water. We're at the end, maybe half mile to go. Phew. Just cruising. When it gets small like it did towards the end of this because the wind was dropping, the waves are always bigger by the beach here because it gets shallow and it makes them stand up. But when it's windy and they're big out in the middle, they're always huge out there and much smaller in here because the shallowness also kills some of the power. I was, downwinding with a guy on a wing the other day. He was on the Armstrong 680 for the first time. And normally he loves it kind of in here. And we got here and he was like, I don't know what happened, but there was no power in the waves. And that's because he was tapping into the really big stuff on the outside and having a ton of fun. And then when he got to the inside here, his foil was too small for kind of the residual power that was left over in the shallow water. Find a set to get on. Whew. My feet always fall asleep and I haven't moved them around on the board enough. Man, we're milking it in here. I've hit this first sandbar a couple times, so gotten in the habit of getting off the board earlier than I think I need to.